UFC Vegas 104 is headlined by a rematch. Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze fought just a few years ago, and while it wasn't a particularly close fight, it certainly was a more entertaining one. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 104 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before we look forward, let's look backwards. Last night was UFC 313. It was a weird card. The ESPN app did not work, so anybody in America that needs to use ESPN to purchase the pay-per-view was struggling, and I imagine that had a huge impact on the overall pay-per-view sales. We also had one of the most boring main events I've ever seen, and I can't even just blame Ankalaev. Alex Pereira just backed up the whole time and only threw leg kicks. It's almost as if Ankalaev is so boring, it's contagious. We had a co-main event that did live up to the hype and a couple of weird decisions to kick off the card. If you want my entire breakdown, I filmed a recap immediately following that event. I sat in this chair till 1:30 in the morning giving you my raw thoughts and reactions. You can check that out on the YouTube channel. The Home Alone thumbnail is where it's at. Here's a look at the bets from last night. Overall, the We Want Picks crew did pretty well. Jacob and BetSam did far better than I did, and the total was almost 6 units of net profit and a 29% ROI. That's on a card that had a couple of weird decisions, 2 canceled fights. 2 fights were canceled just hours before the event, and that obviously thins everything into disarray. It screws up parlays, it adjusts odds, and it still ended up being a pretty good night. If you do want to unlock all the picks, the bets, and the tools, not just from myself, but Jacob, Artem, the Artificial Intelligence, BetSam, and everything else, you can do so now. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. You'll get 4 events for that. Here's a look at Jacob's underdog lock of the week streak. He hit last night with Bruno Ferreira. That is 4 in a row. That's 5 of the last 6. If you don't know who the hell this kid is in the short buzz helmet or why he's sitting here calling underdogs a lock of the week, well, that's what he does. Every single week he picks an underdog, calls it his lock of the week, bets on that fighter, and in the last 6 events, he has a 94% ROI. A 94% ROI in the last 6 events. He's hit 5 of the last 6. Bruno Ferreira at plus 130 was UFC 313's lock of the week. This is entirely free. He puts together an awesome video. Even though the fight already happened, go back and watch his lock of the week video. Bruno Ferreira's nickname is the Hulk. Armin Petrosian's nickname was Superman. Jacob put together, you know how like he's on the spectrum, and he's got like spectrum superpowers, and he uses those superpowers to put together phenomenal creative edits. Check that edit out; it was awesome. The lock of the week video is 100% free. Go look at that. We have some new content here. Don't just skip ahead. There's some important information going on right now. For one, Jacob has a video on Fridays called The Prop Hunter. Remember when I just said he was on the spectrum? Go watch that video and tell me I'm wrong. Watch that video and tell me I'm wrong. For 2 reasons. One, the dude, I mean, you got to see what he's wearing and how he's talking. That'll take care of any rumors that he's not spectrum bound. 2, the guy can see the future. This has only existed for 4 weeks. This Prop Hunter video has only existed for 4 weeks. This past night, Friday night, he put out this video. He gave you a plus 800 Bruno Ferreira to win by submission bet. Hit. The week before that, he gave you 2 plus 900 bets. Cody Brundage to win by KO, and there's another one in there. Hit. The week before that, a plus 650 bet. Hit. The week before that, a plus 600 bet. Hit. These are entirely free bets in an entirely free video run by a guy. You just gotta watch the video. 2 other new pieces of content. These are net new pieces of content that we have added in the last couple of weeks. Jacob does a full card breakdown. He does it in 15 minutes. So while I sit here and I ramble on with 18-minute intros that seems to get everybody's panties in a bunch, Jakey Boy runs through an entire card before I get through an intro. And he does so with key points, keys to victory, and a few other things. So check that video out. And then finally, myself and former world champion Josh Thompson. Islam training partner, Josh Thompson. DC friend, Josh Thompson. Strikeforce world champion, Josh Thompson. Him and I know each other in real life. We live around the corner from each other. Our kids are friends. And we got together and said, hey, let's do a show. And we have a show together called Bad Takes, where we talk about the pertinent topics in the world of MMA and give you our takes. Inevitably, we'll be told that they are bad. The latest edition was dropped yesterday about Ankalaev. and how insanely boring he can be and why you may or may not want to root for him as champion. Check that video out. Josh and I actually disagree on this point, so check that out. And we're going to do new bad takes every, I don't know, couple days, once a week, whatever it is. And let us know in that video what you want our next bad take to be about. We've also moved some content. The number one question I got on Saturday, commenting on all the random videos, where's the Prize Picks video? Where's the Prize Picks video? I need the Prize Picks video. We still do it. It still exists. We just moved it. We have two YouTube channels. We have We Want Picks and we have Picks Nation. The reason we did that is because you can't have too much content on one channel. We can't be uploading 4 videos a day on one channel. So we have the Picks Nation channel. It's got like almost 11,000 subscribers. We moved Prize Picks and Underdog to that channel because those are wildly specific videos. They're not broad enough for our 34,000 subscribers. It's like super bing, laser pinpoint for a small percentage of those. So those videos are there. Go subscribe to that channel, and then you'll get these Prize Picks videos, the Underdogs videos, and the other videos that we put on that channel. Okay? I don't want to see any more where the hell's the Prize Picks video comments next week. And finally, we have a brand new release. I sit in this chair every week and I tell you about how premium is the greatest value in this space. I have never told a lie. That is not a lie, and I'm not being sarcastic. WeWantPicks.com offers a $10 a month premium. $10 a month. How much money did your fat ass spend last night on apps? You got drunk halfway through the undercard, said, let's Uber some food. That was $90. That's 9 months of membership. Chunk. What we've done is we've built this phenomenal product where you get picks and bets and tools, not only for multiple people, but also on multiple platforms. One of the tools is an optimizer. This is for DraftKings Fantasy. It builds DraftKings lineups with you. It is preloaded with ownership projections. But I sit here in this chair and I talk to 20, 30, 50,000 of you. 380,000 views a month. And I talk to you about all the things that we offer. I know a lot of you aren't familiar with DraftKings Fantasy or want to use the optimizer because you've seen other people's success and don't quite know how to do it. It's a little intimidating. So what I did is I went to our developer, the guy who builds these tools for us, and I said, build us an optimizer and build one that has an easy button, a TurboTax button, and that's what we've done. Our previous optimizer worked quite well and a lot of people did really well with it, but we leased it. We didn't own it. I paid somebody to borrow that and put it on the website. What we've done is we've built our own. In the standard mode, you still have advanced options. You can still do anything you want to do and more. We've had the ability now to do a minimum exposure, a maximum exposure, minimum salary, maximum salary, deviations between lineups. And now we have a beginner mode. You click one button on the top, it slides over. And in the beginner mode, you're just going to be walked through some questions. Hey, who are your 3 most confident favorites? Who are your 3 most confident underdogs? Is there anybody you absolutely do not want to be in any of your lineups? And once you're done with those questions, it will spit out the results. You don't need to be a DFS expert. You don't need to know how to use these tools. It'll walk you through that. And then as you get more comfortable, you can go to the standard mode. You can use the advanced options. So we have built an optimizer. It's a phenomenal optimizer. It's bigly. And it is there for everybody. We're lowering the barrier to entry. This is our favorite sport, and I imagine it's yours too. And anything that can make the sport more fun, like building DraftKings fantasy lineups, should be pretty easy to understand. And that's why we've changed this. That's why we've added this. That's why we have built our own optimizer. You can check it out now. Even though premium membership was already the greatest value on the planet, we just made it better. And ask me if I touched the price. Ask me. Say, Ange, it's been $10 for 3 years. Eggs cost $1,052. Did you change premium price? Ask me. No, I didn't. Just like Costco sells that hot dog for $1.50, premium will always be $10. So anytime you get some weirdo who hates us for no goddamn reason whatsoever trying to sell his shit for $30, and all it is a list of bets on a piece of paper, Big Ange got your back. I mentioned that optimizer will be preloaded with the best DraftKings ownership projections on the planet. Here's the results from UFC 313. That was chaos. 2 fights canceled on fight. I mean, absolute chaos. And we still had the best ownership projections on the planet. And finally, you know what it is? I know I do that. I know I say, and finally, and you're probably like, oh, thank God I'm done with this shit. And then it just keeps going. So wait, hold on. Let me back up. Go to WeWantPicks.com and unlock it right now. It's $10 a freaking month. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how cheap that is. Boom. Bet openly. They're not a casino. They are not a sports book. They're peer-to-peer betting. It's human to human. You put up a bet, there's a human on the other side that takes the other side. That's it. It's person-to-person betting. They gave us some money, some fun money. They said, hey, I'm going to put $500 in your account. Every event, build a long shot parlay for $100. And then if you win, give the money away. Do what you want. I don't care. And that's exactly what we're doing. I said, all right, great. I built a 4-leg significant strike parlay for $100 of the bet openly money. It paid out at 10-1 odds. And I said, anybody who retweets this and follows us on Twitter, I'll just divide the money evenly. 55 of you. Something like that. Almost. Maybe actually a little more. Retweet it and follow. I screen recorded, you weasel bitches, because some of you are retweeting it today. You don't wait till after. So if you're one of those people, I recorded. First of all, that's not the motion. I recorded who retweeted and who followed right when this hit. Anybody after, you missed the boat. I recommend you follow us on Twitter now. And then next week, when we do this for every event, I don't know how long. I don't know if we're going to do it forever or just 5 events. I don't know. But it hit. If you were one of the people that retweeted it yesterday, DM us. I get you. We're just going to divide the money evenly. It's like 18-something bucks a person. Maybe next time we'll do it a little differently. Maybe I don't want to limit it to just premium members, even though I should. We'll see. Just follow us on Twitter. It's at WeWantPicks. We mentioned the optimizer. We got plenty of other tools like the fight simulator. This simulates fights 100,000 times and it spits out the outputs. This was also a new tool added within the last month. We've always had the data analyzer. It got a facelift a couple of months ago. This has full tape index. You can go back and watch fight tape. If you're just watching me as part of your research routine, well, part of your routine should be checking out the data analyzer, looking at the stats, deep diving, watching historical tape, reminding yourself how previous fights went. Data analyzer available right now under the tools section of premium membership. And it's not just me and this sultry voice. We also have Jacob, of course. We have Artem, of course. We have BetSam, of course. We have an artificial intelligence, of course. And that is picking fights solely off of historical data. BetSam had a night last night. You can unlock all of his picks, his bets, his tools, and everything else that we have at WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 for an entire month. Everything we do is available inside of an app. Search We Want Picks in the App Store. You'll get push notifications every time we place a bet. And you will get these 4 events. It's $10 a month. Here's the 4 events you're going to get. Honestly, and if you're watching this video at the end of the week, you're going to get 5 events. And the 5th is UFC 314. You're going to get UFC Mexico, UFC London, UFC Vegas 104, and UFC Vegas 105. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Here's the address if you want to send something for the vlog. Later today, Sunday, I'll be putting out the vlog from yesterday. UFC 313 pay-per-view. We film a vlog for every single one of them. You're going to see the wildness that was the mail day for that card. It was chaos. If you want to send something for the next mail day, the address is We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. All right, that intro was like 14 minutes. You've seen worse. You've seen worse. Can't bitch at. You've seen worse. Listen, we lost an hour last night. All right, went to bed late as shit after that recap video. Woke up early because that's what I do to sit here and film this for you. If I get a single comment that's like, you're late today, Ange. No, I'm fucking not. Take it up with the time zone police. Same time every week. You adjust the time zone, that's on you, not me. Opening up the UFC Vegas 104 fight card, we have Josiane Nunes taking on Priscila Cachoeira. Remember a few weeks ago when we had Tom Peterson and Shamil Gaziev? We just talked about Battle of the Runway Models. We're running it back with the ladies. Josiane Nunes, powerful striker. She throws very, very hard. Not a great grappler, but the striking is solid, and she's busy. She likes to come forward. She'll bomb some leg kicks. She used to be a soccer player, and you can see that with the power that comes out of those kicks. She'll throw big overhand lefts. She's short. She's compact. Just think bowling ball. But she doesn't really have issues with range, even though she's shorter than all of her opponents. She hits very hard. She can be wild. She's easily out-techniqued, and she is coming off that split decision loss to Jacqueline Cavalcante, where I honestly thought she won. You guys didn't agree with me, but it is what it is. Where I thought the forward pressure was enough. Giant strikes, moving forward, I thought that was enough. Honestly, we just watched Magomed Ankalaev win a belt by only walking forward. She's taking on Priscila Cachoeira. Powerful striker. Heavy pressure. She throws heavy punches. She's got very real power for this division. She can be KO or bust. If you look at the stats, you'll notice that her striking differential of about 4 to 7. Let's think about that for a second. That means for every 4 significant strikes she's landing, she's getting blasted in the mouth with 7. She is a bully fighter. Never the more skilled person in the cage, but her physicality, her pressure can win her fight. She's coming off that submission loss to Jasmine Jazza the Vicious, where she had absolutely nothing to offer on the ground. This should actually be a pretty fun lady fight. I feel like they're going to get after it. It's the same person. This is a mirror image of each other. They do the exact same thing. Both of them have no technique, rely on power and chaos and forward pressure to win their fights. This should be a basically even fight. The odds are pretty wide. But I get it. Josiane Nunes should win this fight. She hits a little harder. She's a little tougher. She's a little more solid. She doesn't get hit with 7 significant strikes per minute. So Josiane Nunes is going to be the pick. That's it. And we might have the unicorn of women's MMA bets where we do the under on 2.5. Let's see what the lines are. That might be a nice little opportunity because Josiane is not going to get finished, but Priscila could get finished. Did I word that correctly? I may have. Anyway, Nunes is the pick, and the under 2.5 might be a sneaky good play at plus money. Then we have Seung Yu taking on AJ Cunningham. Seung Yu is a non-stop wrestler. He's going to shoot takedowns before the gloves even touch. If he does entertain the striking, it's just to pump out a jab or two before diving at a leg. He will literally attempt 20 to 30 takedowns per fight. He'll even throw a jab and then just touch your knee to remind you what he's going to do. He can be sloppy, but he is unrelenting. When he gets to the ground, he's an aggressive grappler. He's constantly climbing, trying to work up your body, working for a submission. He's coming off that decision win over Barjang Jalusali, where he went 2 for 5 in takedown attempts. He's taking on AJ Cunningham. AJ Cunningham is genuinely a good dude. He's overcome a lot of shit in his life. He did more than most people, and he did it before he was 12. Fighting-wise, he's a long, powerful striker. He gets hit, but he doesn't stop coming forward. He does not have the cleanest techniques, but he is powerful. He will work in everything from head kicks to spinning back fists. He can also be a country bowl wrestler with big takedowns, slams, and lots of activity. Despite the offensive wrestling, his takedown defense, kind of trash. Not very good. He's coming out of that TKO finish to Ludovic Klein, but that was short notice, and Ludovic is sort of next level good. This is pretty simple, though. The math works out here. We have 1 + 1, and in America, that equals 2. Young Yu can wrestle. AJ can get taken down. I think Yu, not you, but Yu, takes down AJ. I think it's pretty straightforward. No real value in the money line here, but we could make $1 or $2 on the round line prop. Takedown props, we have a lot of success. Jakey Boy just hit a plus 350 takedown prop on Rafael Fiziev to get 1 single takedown, and he had 2 in that fight. So let's see what all the props are. Make sure you have the bet or the app installed, so when we do place a bet, you'll get a push notification. Anybody who got the push notification on Friday did quite well. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Anyone notice that jump cut? This is my 5th time trying to break down this fight. I have to keep restarting. I'm fumbling, I'm bumbling. That hour time change difference is really screwing me up. Low energy Ange. And not, pay attention to the word. I said low energy Ange, not low T Ange. Plenty of tea running through my veins. I pee out extra tea. I've got so much. And I feel like you don't believe me, and I feel like by saying that, it sounds like I'm pushing a narrative that doesn't exist, and I'm like insecure about it. No, plenty of tea. Okay, I'm not overcompensating. I feel like I need to wake my wife up and get her in here to get rid of that narrative. This is going to spiral. Low energy because of the time change last night. We lost an hour. High tea because I'm big Ange and I eat like lots of meat. We got Carlos Vera taking on Josias Musasa. Josias Musasa is a fast and powerful striker. He does a very good job moving forward, looking for finishes while maintaining his defense. He isn't much of an offensive wrestler, but if he ends up on top, he'll just wail away looking for a finish. He has insane power, especially in this weight class, and he knows it, which is why he moves forward and he headhunts. He's a ton of fun to watch. He's very creative on the feet. He's very fast everywhere. He's coming off that close win on the Contender Series, which made his way into the UFC. He's taking on Carlos Vera. Carlos Vera is just a short, wee little man, short and thick, like a leprechaun. Hey, we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day. We had Carlos Vera, under the rainbow, short, thick guy. Very athletic. He moves pretty well. He's got loose striking, where he's constantly moving, tons of kicks. He's well-rounded enough to strike, wrestle, and grapple, but his takedowns are not great. He actually somehow ends up in trouble after shooting takedowns. He has aggressive BJJ off his back. He'll roll for anything he can find. He's at that Ryan Hall fight camp. He subscribes to the Ryan Hall logic of doing things, and he'll play those BJJ nerd games. On his feet, he's just going to wing punches. He'll throw creatively. He's got a little bit of power. On the ground, he'll chill in the guard while hunting for something. He's coming off that loss to Rinya Nakamura, where Joe Rogan had to change his underwear at the thought of Carlos rolling for a leg lock. This is a fun matchup. Carlos is probably the better all-around fighter, even though he rolls around like a baby in tumble class. He's athletic. He's got fun striking. The grappling is obviously very good, and he's pretty tough. But he's also a shrimpy little guy who likes getting his chin checked. Josias has fight-ending power, especially early. If Josias ends up on top, he'll work for a TKO finish. While Carlos is trying to tickle feet, Josias is going to be the pick because of how insanely dangerous he is. But my warning to you is very possible that Josias punches himself out. We have only seen him go to a decision once. And he may come out here, look like a king in the first round, then get tired, and Carlos Vera might just be rolling around on his back, scoring points, doing absolutely weirdo things. Josias is the pick. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I might just leave it alone because Carlos Vera is actually very tough. And if he doesn't just give up time on his back, he could take over. He's got cardio. He could honestly make something happen. And speaking of cardio, we have absolute cardio demon Sam Hughes taking on Stephanie Luciano. Sam Hughes is a pressure fighter. She moves forward. She tries to bully. She's very aggressive, nonstop forward pressure. She unfortunately is also very hittable. She has that little bit of a negative striking differential there. She has a wrestling with 7 takedowns and plenty of pressure. She's insanely tough, but not dangerous at all. She will exploit her opponent's cardio holes, but take the beating along the way. She's coming off that decision win over Victoria Dudikova, where she was not the better fighter, but the insane cardio, the pressure, and the willingness to move forward is what got her this win. Stephanie Luciano is a busy come-forward striker. She wants to close the distance. She wants to get you to the cage and work you to the ground. If she gets you to the ground, she will camp out and rack up control time while staying safe and occasionally working in an elbow or two. She's not dangerous, but she's always moving forward and has plenty of cardio. She's coming off that rematch win over Talita Alencar, where her striking was sharp, the takedown defense was solid, and her get-up game looked absolutely fantastic. Sam Hughes is sitting as a 2-1 underdog. And you might think instantly, those odds are wide. But honestly, skill-wise, those odds are pretty spot on. Luciano is the better fighter here. She has better wrestling, better striking. She's got good cardio on her side. So the pick is going to be Luciano because I think she is literally better everywhere. And with that being said, this is a perfect plus 3.5. If you don't know what the plus 3.5 is, it's basically betting the spread. If you think about other sports and you bet the spread on the NFL, you bet the spread on the NBA, you're betting the spread in fighting. Fighting has 3 rounds. Each round is scored by a judge. And if you bet the underdog, you're betting plus 3.5 points to that total. The way the math all works itself out is effectively you just need her to win 1 round on all 3 judges' scorecards. So if Sam Hughes comes in here and loses a split decision, should get paid. If Sam Hughes loses a 29-28, should get paid. If she wins the fight outright, should get paid. With her being a 2-1 dog, there may be some value on this plus 3.5. Round line's going to be free money as well, but I imagine that's juiced. We'll see what happens when all those props drop, usually Tuesday, but I am going to pick Stephanie here. I think she's just better. And I understand that Sam Hughes can wilt people with that pressure, but Stephanie isn't Victoria. Stephanie's not going to fade that early. I think we have to get all the way to the 3rd round, and by then Stephanie would have banked too. So Stephanie Luciano is going to be the pick, and honestly, if the odds are just who wins this fight, I think the odds are correct. Then we have Yuneisy Duben taking on Carli Judice. Yuneisy Duben is an aggressive striker who rushes forward with missiles on her chest and bobs in her hands. She recorded one of the best knockouts on the Contender Series and certainly the best female knockout. She literally moves forward, didn't care what was coming her way, and then went off. It was a perfect embodiment of who she is as a fighter. Embodiment, which makes her impossible to break down. She's not very good. She's crazy tough. She loves to fight, and she never quits. She's taking on Carli Judice. Carli's a striker. She's got decent combinations, good volume. She does a good job mixing in punches and kicks and alternating between the two quickly. She sets a nice pace. She can move forward, throwing combinations for the entire fight. She can also be taken down, but she's got a decent get-up game when she is taken down. She's coming off her second split decision loss in a row, this time to Gabriela Hernandez, where she was very hittable and showed damage because of how insanely pale she is. Back to normal Ange. I thought some of these odds were wide but fair. This time, wide and not fair. Why are these odds so wide? This is ridiculous. Carli is insanely hittable, and she wears damage. Carli's the better fighter just technique-wise, because Duben's not, like, wildly technical. But there's something to be said about just good old-fashioned gunslinging. I would actually go all in on Duben here if I had a better idea of what her cardio is. She's never been to a decision. She's finished all 6 of her opponents. So I don't know if she can move forward just chaotically bombing away for 15 minutes or if that's like an 8-minute thing. And I doubt you would last 8 minutes. Cut that joke off, Ange. It's going to get weird. I'm going to have some fun here. I'm going to pick Duben based purely off of her willingness to engage. Put whatever you want in that long pause with your imagination. But I think the only bet that would make sense here could be a round under. We could have 2 female fights on this card with neither one of them going to a decision. Duben has finished everybody she's ever fought. And maybe she death gasses if she doesn't finish. This is going to be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it. If we know anything, it's that Duben is wildly exciting. So welcome to the UFC. Fun fact, I think she was a plus 500 in her Contender Series fight. And I think Jacob was streaming or something. And he got one look at her and said, let's bet money on the higher letter. And he did. And it cashed. Then we have Waldo Cortes-Acosta taking on Ryan Spann. Waldo Cortes-Acosta is a fun, athletic striker. He's tough as nails. He has some okay power. He does get flashy. A few years ago when he first came into the UFC, he was dancing mid-fight. He lands an impressive almost 6 significant strikes per minute. He has showed us on numerous occasions how physically tough he is, like in his last fight, where he survived an early barrage and had to activate Nurmagomedov mode. He's taking on Ryan Spann, 6'5" powerhouse Ryan Spann. Ryan's incredibly dangerous with 19 stoppages and 22 wins. He's not all power, though. He also wrestles. He has an average of about 1 takedown per fight. 13 of his stoppages are by submission. Ryan Spann's incredibly dangerous. He's got cardio as well. He's coming off that bounce-back win over Ovens St. Preux, where he landed clean and then choked him out when Ovens shot a sloppy takedown. This entire breakdown is going to be out of character for Big Ange. The last fight, I told you, those odds were too wide and it didn't make sense. Fight before that, I said those odds are wide and it does make sense. This fight, I'm telling you, these odds are wide and it does make sense. I'll usually sit here and talk about each fighter, explain why most of these fights are closer than the odds. But this card, pretty spot on. I know a lot of people don't love Waldo. And they're surprised to see that he's a 2-1 favorite. But the reality is he should be. He's faster. He's got plenty of movement. He can avoid the big strikes. He's got plenty of cardio. And we just saw he can offensively wrestle. Ryan is very dangerous. But his last win was his first win in 3 years, and it was against a 40-year-old. Waldo's the pick. And that's not just because we were both in the movie The Burden of 9 Lives. Look it up. Watch it. It's on Amazon. I'm in it. Waldo's in it. I'm going to pick him to win here, though. I do think he gets it done. Minus 200, maybe that tightens. Maybe money comes in on him, it tightens. We just saw that with Josh Van. Josh Van got bet all the way down to a minus 120 going into that fight, and then he smoked Rinya. And something similar might happen here for different reasons, but people might look at it and be like, I can't stand Waldo. Waldo's not good. It's Ryan Spann. And they may bet on him, and the public might move that line. And if they do, then Waldo's even better value. I do think he absolutely gets it done here. Then we have Daniel Barez taking on Andre Lima. Andre Lima is a solid striker. He invests in the body early. He's got good technique, and he uses it all really well. He throws up combinations. He's not lazy with anything. He'll mix up strikes. He essentially is a pure striker, though. He's got solid takedowns, good submission defense. If he does end up on the ground, he's got good enough scrambles, a decent get-up game. He's coming off that decision win over Felipe Dos Santos, where he walked forward, had nice defensive just sort of slips and movements, but ultimately, he didn't love the forward pressure of his opponent, so he started shooting. He's taking on Daniel Barez. This guy is a fireball. He'll set a nice pace from bell to bell. He's got fast, powerful boxing, slick BJJ, good takedowns when he needs them. He trusts his BJJ. He has no problem chasing submissions and trying to find a finish. He can lose positions at times because he is chasing finishes too aggressively. His takedown defense is not the best, but he works on bottom and he creates openings. He's coming off that decision win over Victor Altamirano, where he was landing nice 1-2s, but he did fade as the fight went on. This is a good fight. This would be a fun fight. I'm expecting it to be pretty entertaining and closer than people will think. Andre is very good. I understand the love for him here, but I do have some reservations. First, he's a straight-up cheater. He's a straight-up cheater. He'll do anything to win, way too many times grabbing fences. He's grabbing inside the gloves. He's literally just pushing the limits of the rules and how far a referee will let you take it. Second, he's supposed to be this great striker, but he was getting touched up by Felipe Dos Santos in his last fight and had to resort to the takedowns. Andre's going to be the pick. He should win. But if Daniel marches forward and he can maintain a pace without fading like he did in his last fight, he can steal a decision here. Andre's going to be the pick. But I can't touch him at minus 280. Can't do it. There's way better value on this card in other places. There's also phenomenal value at WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use any of the affiliate links to sign up with any of the partners. Make a deposit. Get yourself $50. It's affiliate marketing. You're going to use the link. You're going to sign up. You're going to make an account. They're going to pay me a little bit of a commission. I'm going to slice off $50 and I'm going to give it right back to you. That's WeWantPicks.com/bets. The latest addition to premium membership is the brand new optimizer. Talked about it for a few minutes earlier in this video, but the reality is we have a whole bunch of tools. We have picks and bets for that community. We have DraftKings fantasy tools for that community. We have tools for FanDuel for that community. And the latest addition to the DraftKings fantasy community is the optimizer. We had one before, but we were leasing it from somebody else, so we had no control over what it could and could not do. So we built one from scratch. It has every feature you could ever want or need, but the biggest, coolest, newest thing that we have added is an easy button. We have a standard mode and we have the beginner mode because we recognize a giant percentage of our audience doesn't even know what DraftKings Fantasy is, maybe wants to dabble, wants to give it a try, but it's intimidating. What the hell is this? So now you click the button to beginner mode, and instead of just a bunch of names and numbers and the expectation of you to go make some changes, it'll walk you through some questions. Think TurboTax. You ever use TurboTax? TurboTax, like, did you buy a house this year? How much money did you make last year? You answer those simple questions, boom, taxes are done. Same exact thing with the optimizer. It'll say, who are your 3 favorite fighters? Who are your 3 least favorite fighters? Are there any fighters you don't want in this at all? You answer a few of those questions, boom, here's your lineups. Check out the brand new optimizer at WeWantPicks.com. It'll be under the DraftKings menu. We still have the Fight Simulator. This was a tool we added about a month ago. 2 brand new tools in 1 month. Ask me if I touched the price. Ask me. Ange, did you touch the price? No, of course not. Ange, a number 1 at McDonald's is like $38 now. Did you raise the price of premium? I would understand if you did. No, I didn't. What we did do is add a whole bunch of shit and make it even better value. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10 for an entire month. And that entire month for $10, think about how insignificant that is. For $10, you're going to get 4 events. UFC London, UFC, where the hell is he from? Mexico, UFC Vegas 104 and UFC Vegas 105. All 4 of those cards included for the $10 a month. And everything we do is available inside the app. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, unlock it all, install the app, make sure notifications are on because as we do things, as we place bets, as we put things on the board, you'll get a push notification on your phone. You can check it out, and then you'll know what you want to do. Yesterday, when we had 2 fights drop, right before UFC 313, we sent the push notification. Hey, These 2 fights dropped. Go make your adjustments in your DraftKings lineups. Without that push notification, some people might have just went on their merry way. Spent more than $10 on God knows what, God knows where. Turn notifications on. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. And here's the reminder of the new content. Jakey Boy's new Prop Hunter video, dominating. He gave you plus 800 for Bruno Fajeda by submission. That hit. Week before that, a couple of 900s, a 600. I mean, it's crazy. This video's only existed for 4 weeks. Every single one of those videos has given you an incredible prop bet. He also has a 15-minute breakdown. A 15-minute breakdown of the entire card. He breaks down his whole card before I get through an intro. And then I have a new show on this channel with Josh Thompson. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He is the one and only person to ever TKO Nate Diaz. Dropped that bum. He's not a bum. Dropped him with a head kick. Finished him there. Look up Josh Thompson. Him and I got together. We have a show called Bad Takes where we give you our opinion on different topics in MMA. All of this content right here on the We Want Picks YouTube channel. And we move some content off this channel. We have a second channel called Picks Nation. That's where we move the hyper-specific videos like the Prize Picks and the Underdog. Subscribe to that channel. We're also using that channel to experiment with some new content, see how it does before we move it to the bigger channel in We Want Picks. Just click it. You click a button. It's subscribe. You click a button. Big deal. Appreciate you. And here's the address if you want to send something for mail day. Next mail day will be UFC 314. UFC 313 was yesterday. We filmed a vlog. That vlog should be available later today. We had some wild mail come through in that vlog. And if you want to send some mail for the next one, it's We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. That takes us to the main card. This is the busy fight card where UFC 313 had 10 fights at the end of the day. We have 13 fights here. And the first of 6 on this main card is Seung Choi taking on Kevin Vallejos. This is a really fun fight, and we have a couple fighters on this main card making their UFC debuts, and I think they are all the real deal, and Kevin's the first one. He is a 2-time Contender Series alumni. And he thought his UFC dreams were over when he lost to Jean Silva. Turns out, Jean Silva's pretty damn good. And Kevin got another crack at it. And he did what he was supposed to do. He's a powerful striker. He sends a beautiful 1-2. If you kick, he's going to catch it. And then he will bomb an overhand right down the middle. He's very comfortable on his feet. He's very dangerous. He has impressive speed, especially considering his power. He has a few submissions, but he does have some grappling holes. He's very young at 23, but he's also a great prospect with a bright future. He's taking on Seung Choi. Seung Choi is a clean striker. He fights tall. He throws solid with power. He does a really good job utilizing leg kicks, and at times he uses them like a jab. He's a technical striker who sets up his takedowns well and uses them to clinch rounds. While he is a decent fighter, he has been struggling as of late, losing 4 of his last 5, the most recent being a KO loss to Steve Garcia. And UFC debuts are always a little nerve-wracking. It's hard to be confident in somebody who's never stepped foot in the real octagon under the real lights. But Kevin is seemingly the real deal. He's got great power, great control. He's incredibly fast. He's also fighting someone who can and has been chinned. I love Kevin in this matchup, and even with the grappling holes, I am very confident in him here. I don't imagine these odds are going to be minus 355 for much longer. Then we have the always impossible to break down Alexander Hernandez, and he's taking on Kurt Holobaugh. The fact that Alexander Hernandez is a 2-1 favorite in any year, let alone 2025, is crazy. It's crazy. Because he's so impossible to break down. He is very good. Alexander Hernandez in a silo is very good. He's well-rounded. He's athletic. He's explosive. He has actual skills, but he's wildly inconsistent. He's a solid wrestler. He's got power. He's got speed. But he does struggle to put it all together at one time. He wasn't having success at 155, so he went to 145. He wasn't having success at 145, so he moved back up to 55. This is where he belongs. This is where he should stay. And he got a win. He's coming off that win over Austin Hubbard, where he was fast, he was clean and athletic, but he does wear damage. He's taking on Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt Holobaugh is an Ultimate Fighter winner who was able to do so pretty late in his career. He's 38 years old, and he just won this at 37. Style-wise, Kurt's a come-forward striker. He's got pressure. He's got power. He marches forward. He throws combinations, and then he'll duck out. He'll reset. See those head movements? What? Look how fast. Even losing an hour with the time zone different, I still... Good for me. Some people are just athletically gifted. And it sucks that I'm tall and athletically gifted. I've got the skin tone of a Brazil. Like, it's crazy. Literally tall, dark, handsome, athletic. It is crazy. I don't know what I did to earn all of those blessings, but I appreciate it. And it's got to be frustrating for you. See me sit here looking this good. You saw the speed and the athleticism. That has to be frustrating. It's going to be frustrating for Kurt, too, because he's not that athletic. But what he does do is he comes forward, he stays busy, he gets his hands going. He has some wrestling as well, not as good as mine. Back to Ange. His BJJ, however, is very good. That might be a little better than mine, but I don't know. He actually won the Ultimate Fighter with the BJJ. He's coming off the decision win over Kajan Krasuski, where his striking was on point, but the takedown defense was tough. I told you his wrestling wasn't good as mine. If Alexander was a high IQ fighter and he just used the tools that God gave him and his brain, we'd be good to go. I'd be all over him. He should have a very clear advantage in the wrestling. A pretty straightforward path to victory. He's fast, he's clean. The problem is he does not fight to his abilities, and he cannot be trusted. I'm actually going to pick Kurt here. I think the pressure, the striking, all of that combined with the fact that Alex wears damage on his face, and the only thing Vegas judges give a shit about is tiny little cuts on your face, I got to go with Kurt Holobaugh here. Seems like a recipe for success. So let's do the Emerald Lagasse, and bam! Throw something on this money line. Did I age myself with that reference? Do you guys even know who Emerald Lagasse is? That one I imagine everybody. Last week I did a Connie Chung reference, and grade A, spectacular reference by me. The Emerald one doesn't seem like as deep of a cut, right? He's insanely famous. He still has products on the shelves today. I think he's still doing like the morning show tours. You guys must know who the hell he is. You must. If you don't, that's crazy. Connie Chung, I get. But you have to know who Emerald Lagasse is. Bam! Then we have DaMon Blackshear taking on Cody Gibson. This should be another pretty fun fight. Another interesting fight as well. We got an old, we got a young. We have two different people in different parts of their career, but it's going to be fun to break down. It's going to be fun to watch. Because DaMon Blackshear is an athletic striker. He's impressive. He's got good speed. He's got good power. He can grapple. He has takedowns in all but one of his UFC fights. He has solid volume in his strikes. He's got technical boxing and clean takedowns. He does have 4 losses in the UFC, but all 4 of them are quality losses to good people. He's coming off that bounce-back win over Cody Stamann, where he wobbled Cody and then submitted him. And I mentioned he has takedowns in all of his fights except one. I don't think he had a takedown technically in that last fight. So you're going to see submission and assume he wrestled his way there? No, he dropped him and then snatched it up. He's taking on Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson's a solid striker. He uses length well. He's very long. He can be busy as well. He uses that length to set up strikes, defend takedowns. He has 13 takedowns in the UFC, but he is primarily a striker. And if you take him down, you actually could have some success holding him there. He's coming off that decision win over Chad Anheliger, where he was getting touched up on the feet, but the wrestling and the grappling looked pretty good. Luckily, DaMon has decent takedown defense, because what I imagine here is that DaMon absolutely smokes Cody on the feet, but Cody is durable, so he's going to stick around and then start looking to wrestle. I think the striking gap is so wide that I am going to pick DaMon here. I'm pretty confident in him to get it done. But in a year where massive favorites are falling from the treetops, I'm going to chill. This year is crazy with big favorites. Massive favorites going down like cheerleaders under the bleachers. I'm going to leave it alone. Minus 400 is not a massive favorite, but what have we seen week in and week out? We're seeing these like good-sized favorites just skyrocket to unreasonable numbers. So I'm going to leave this one alone. I imagine DaMon's going to end up being like a minus 600 favorite because people are going to see it. They're going to see Cody's old. They're going to go on that side. And he should win this fight, and I'm confident in him to win this fight. But Cody's still big, he's creative, and he's durable. Durable matters. Then we have another UFC newcomer in DR Nurgaze, and he's taking on Brenson Ribeiro. This is the second UFC newcomer on the main card, and I am just as confident in him as I was the previous newcomer on the main card. Kazakhstan is most famous as the home of Borat, but it's quickly becoming the home of many young MMA fighters. Deir Nugazai is the latest prospect out of the world's highest pubis producer. Deir Nugazai is an absolute dog. He has big hands, big wrestling, a very good resume for a UFC debut. He's a wrestler by trade, but he has no issues mixing it up on the feet and finding finishes everywhere. We have seen him grind for 15 minutes, as well as find finishes in under one. DR is a very real prospect, and he's a breath of fresh air in a division run by the most boring fighter we've ever seen in our entire lives. He's taking on Brinson Ribeiro. He's an offensive striker who's got solid grappling. I say offensive striker because he likes to move forward. He will bomb away, but he's very hittable. He doesn't defend anything. His takedowns are mediocre, but if a fight does end up on the ground, he's aggressive. He hunts for submissions. He's dangerous both on top and off of his back. While Ribeiro has a pretty well-rounded offense, he does have a quit button and he can be finished. He's coming off that close decision win over Caio Machado. He got his hand raised for the first time in the UFC. We have a couple of UFC debuts on this card. I mentioned I love them all. DR is very good. He can absolutely win everywhere. He's got cardio. And that's very important. Because sometimes you get these UFC debuts who are used to finishing. They don't finish, and then they fade very, very quickly. He also has quality wins. He's not a can crusher. The UFC knows what they're doing with this matchup. I'm here for it. I'm buying into the hype. Minus 250, I'll take it. DR is going to be the pick. And I would bet on him now before this line absolutely skyrockets. People are going to do a little bit of research and be like, oh yeah. He's not a can crusher. He's not one of these UFC debuts who's 10-0 and his most recent opponent was 2-105. He's got good wins against good people. Then we have Chidi Njokuani taking on Elizeu Zaleski. This is our co-main event of the evening, and this is a pretty fun fight. I most certainly got the ages wrong on this slide because Elizeu Zaleski is not 28 years old. He's 38 years old. He's in the twilight of his career, but we haven't seen the side effects of age just yet. Elizeu's a solid striker. He's got real power. He's got athleticism. He's got that capoeira, the Brazilian dance fighting style. He can also be dangerous on the ground. He's very busy. He's an active striker, and he's constantly moving. He has real power, real athleticism, real cardio, and that makes him dangerous everywhere. He's old, but we haven't seen that affect his cardio or performances at this point in time. He's coming off that finish win over Zach Scroggins. Zach was short notice. The UFC had no sort of choice to throw him in there. We were going to lose that fight entirely, and unfortunately, Zach had no business in a UFC octagon. But Elizeu did to him what you would expect him to do. He's taking on Chidi Njokuani. Chidi Njokuani is a very good striker. He's got speed, power, solid distance control. He's not a high-volume guy, but he sticks and moves really well. His feet are never in the same place for very long, and people have a hard time getting to him. If you're able to get inside the reach, get in the clinch, work your way into the pocket, you can have success. You could also have success getting to his legs and working in some takedowns. He's coming off that decision win over Jared Gooden, where he had an unusually high striking volume for him. If we didn't see Chidi's last fight, right? If I didn't see the volume, this would be a very easy breakdown. I would sit here looking as good as I look, tell you about how he's low volume and how confident I am in Zaleski to come forward, put the pace on. But I did see his last volume. I saw the high volume Chidi in that last fight. And now the question is that just who he is now? Which I hope so. Or was that just a one-off fight? Did he just get his hands going one time? And that makes these breakdowns kind of tricky. Chidi's the better striker. He's younger. If he comes out with volume and speed, Chidi could absolutely 100% without question win this fight. We've seen him have success in almost every single fight, including his losses. Zaleski might even start to look his age in this fight. But I'm still going to stay on the Zaleski side, but only because he's so damn durable. Remember the Renat Fakhretdinov fight? Late in the third round, he almost finishes Renat to tie it up and get a draw out of that. He also has wrestling if he needs it. So I'm going to be on the Zaleski side, but the bet might be Chidi Njokuani win inside the distance decision, no action. And what that bet basically means is if Chidi wins by finish, you'll get paid. But if it goes to a decision, win, lose, draw, you get a full refund. I had that bet on Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev lost that fight, and I got a full refund. I got all my money back. It was like it never happened. It was dicey when he got dropped with that uppercut, but I got all that money back. This could be a similar situation. We've seen Chidi finish before, but that was against RoboCop. I mean, that guy is terrifying. And then we have the main event of the evening. We have my Italian brother, Marvin Vettori, taking on Roman Dolidze. Marvin Vettori's a grappler at his core. He has developed some striking over time. He's got a good set of diverse takedowns. He got body locks, hit and run doubles. His striking does continue to improve. It looked pretty good in his last fight. He's gotten very comfortable on his feet. Even when he's not comfortable, he's fine because his head is made of Legos. He's got a positive striking differential. He averages almost 2 takedowns per fight, and he almost has a 70% takedown defense. He's coming back after 2 years away and a loss to Jared Cannonier, where even though he landed half the strikes, he also landed an impressive 153. That was more about how insane Jared Cannonier was in that fight and not a poor performance by Marvin. Marvin actually looked really good. It was just literally the performance of a lifetime from Jared. He's taking on Roman Dolidze. This guy is a world champion grappler. He has showcased those skills more than one time in the octagon. The problem, though, is you don't know when he's actually going to use the grappling. He has no problems marching forward, throwing heavy punches, getting stuck in a striking match. He's got very real power, which he does tend to chase with. Dolidze is a very well-rounded guy. He can knock you out. He can submit you. But he doesn't always have the best game plans, and he can fade later in fights. He's coming off that finish win over Kevin Holland, where he took Kevin down, broke his rib, and won by TKO. So if you're just looking at the green dot on Tapology, and you're going to see Roman Dolidze won by TKO, it wasn't with his hands. He just broke Kevin's rib. And then obviously fighting with a broken rib has got to be the worst. That has to be worse than a lot of other random fight injuries. I'm not usually one for rumors or somebody that would go against my Italian brothers. But a little birdie with a weird accent told me that Marvin Vettori has a shoulder injury and it's not fully recovered. He's essentially fighting because he hasn't fought in 2 years. And he needs a couple of bucks. And that's the reality for a lot of fighters. There's not an alternative source of revenue. They're not on salary. They get paid to show up and fight. And if they lose, they only get paid half that money. So Marvin Vettori only got paid half of his money 2 years ago. And I'm sure he's done like some clinics and appearances since then. But when your main source of income doesn't come in for 2 full years, you kind of got to make some things happen. So if the rumor is true, and if his shoulder is a mess and he's not quite 100%, well, then that does matter very much in this fight. This fight is a rematch. Marvin essentially won the first one just by being a busy striker, and that was back in 2023. Conventional wisdom would say this is likely more of the same. But given the inactivity, the rumor of the shoulder injury, and Roman's progression since their first fight, I got to go Roman here. Roman has picked up the striking activity. He's picked up the grappling activity. He got the hair done up. And I think he can get it done here. Roman's going to be the pick. But in tried and true Roman Dolidze betting fashion, the greatest bet in the history of time with a Roman Dolidze fight is win inside the distance, decision, no action. Because he can finish, and he's insanely durable, so he's not going to get finished. I've bet on that basically every single Roman Dolidze fight. And sometimes I get a refund. Sometimes it cashes, but it's never lost. Guys, that's the breakdown. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is an interesting fight card with a lot of really fun matchups. And let me know if you're as confident in the UFC newcomers as I am, or if you're just waiting for a couple of these to get fraud checked inside the big boy arena. And then, after you leave your fancy little comment, go to the App Store and search We Want Picks. You can download our app. The app is 100% free. At the very least, you'll get some push notifications. If you are not a premium member and you had our app on Saturday, well, sucks you're not premium because premium was up a couple of bucks, but you would have gotten push notifications like the 2 dropped fights. So make sure you have the app, make sure you have the notifications on because it's more than just we placed this bet. It's also crazy things happening the day of the fights. Inside the app, you'll have access to every single thing that we do, including the brand new optimizer that we built from scratch. We coded it from scratch. And we revolutionized, and I know that sounds like a dramatic word, but we revolutionized how this all works. Because the DraftKings fantasy space right now exists for the elite. It exists for the people that try to do this for a living. It exists for the people chasing $100,000 payouts. It does not exist for you, for me, for normal people that just want to have a little bit more fun watching fights. It does not exist for the people trying to get into it, trying to understand how this all works. The entire industry has been hyper-focused on 1% of people. And not making it easy, not lowering the barrier of entry for everybody else. And that's what we have done. An optimizer is a tool that builds DraftKings fantasy lineups for you. And an optimizer can be a little intimidating. There's a lot of numbers on the screen. And it doesn't all make sense, especially the first couple of times you use it. So what we've done is we've added a beginner mode The beginner mode works exactly like TurboTax. In fact, that's what I told the developer. I want this to work like TurboTax. So the beginner mode is just going to ask you some questions. Who are your 3 most favorite fighters? Who are your 3 least confident fighters? Are there any fighters you don't want to see at all in your lineups? You answer a few of those questions and it'll spit out the lineups for you. You go to DraftKings, you upload that little file, boom, you're off to the races. The brand new optimizer is ready to go, both for the beginners in beginner mode as well as advanced users. Advanced users got a few feature upgrades as well. Check out the optimizer now. It is available. Just go under the DraftKings menu and click optimizer. You also have full access to the fight simulator. The fight simulator takes every fight on the card. It simulates them 100. You know what's so funny? I do this breakdown many, many times. And every time I do the fight simulator, I do this. Why the hell is this, if any of you speak sign language, DM me a video of you doing whatever simulator is, because my brain has decided this is simulate. So the pitch goes, we have a brand new fight simulator. It simulates fights 100,000 times. I do that every time. That's what it does. 100,000 simulations. It spits out the results for you. We have the data analyzer for anybody who likes to just do their own research. I don't want to see your bets, Ange, you slob. First of all, you'd be wrong. I'm not a slob. I'm a handsome man. My mother and my wife think so. Second of all, great, do your research. We have the greatest research tool you could ever want or need. Has full historical tape index. It's built out for the future. Cards all the way out for months in advance are in there, ready to go. You can sort on fighters. You can add, remove filters. You can look at all the data, do all the things you could ever want or need to do. Then we have the line movement tracker, tried and true line movement tracker. It's going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. You're going to have access to the Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And you're going to have access to more than just this beautiful face. We got a couple of blokes from Kiwi land, as well as an artificial intelligence. Every single thing that we do is one package for $10. No upsell, DFS versus, no. It's $10. Ange, is this included? The answer is yes. It's $10. Everything we do. Go to WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.